Hey, let me ask you something straight up. How are you really feeling about the Cowboys right now? I mean, really. Because if you're anything like me, you've been riding a roller coaster of hope, doubt, frustration, and maybe even a little disbelief. Not too long ago, we were dreaming big. NFC title games, a Super Bowl run, a legacy for Dak, and a defense led by Micah Parsons that could go down in history. But now, that dream feels more like a distant memory. And as we inch closer to training, camp, the question has to be asked. What direction is this team actually headed in? Let's take a step back. After another disappointing playoff exit, fans expected changes, maybe even major ones. Instead, what did we get? The same front office, the same quarterback, and a head coach who's somehow holding on tighter than ever. No splash free agent signings, no blockbuster trades, just a bunch of wait and see. And that's what's really eating at fans right now. The inaction. Even the draft, which was supposed to be a spark of hope, left more questions than answers. Some solid picks? Sure. But enough to push this team over the top? Not even close. And let's not forget, other NFC teams aren't standing still. The Eagles, the 49ers, the Lions, they're all loading up, while the Cowboys seem like they're stuck in neutral. I want to hear from you. Are you still holding out hope? Or has the frustration finally taken over? Drop a yes in the comments if you believe the Cowboys can still turn this around, or a no if you think they're heading toward another wasted season. And tell me why. Let's make this a real conversation, fan to fan, because in the next chapter, we're diving deep into the heart of the problem. And yeah, you guessed it. That means looking directly at Jerry Jones and his role in where the Cowboys stand right now. All right, now let's get into it. Because if we're going to talk honestly about what's holding the Cowboys back, we have to start with Jerry Jones. And look, I get it. The man is the Cowboys. He's the owner, the GM, the face of the franchise, and for some fans, he's even a legend. But the truth? His grip on this team might be the biggest reason we're stuck in this endless cycle of hope and heartbreak. Let me ask you, when was the last time you truly felt like the Cowboys had a clear, focused direction? A real plan to win it all? Because year after year, we hear the same thing. We believe in our guys. We like our roster. We're close. But are we? Or are we just stuck in Jerry's version of Groundhog Day? This isn't about blaming the man for everything. It's about accountability. Jerry wants to win, no doubt. But his need to control every part of this franchise is hurting the product on the field. He talks about being all in. But where's the proof? No bold moves, no top-tier free agents, and no willingness to step back and let true football minds take over. It's like the Cowboys are more of a business brand than a football team sometimes. The glitz, the hype, the attention, it's all there. But championships? Not since the 90s. And that gap? That's on Jerry. His loyalty to guys like Jason Garrett for way too long, his unwillingness to go all in like the Rams did, and now keeping Mike McCarthy despite clear flaws. It's all part of the pattern. So here's my question for you. Do you think the Cowboys can ever win another Super Bowl with Jerry still calling the shots? Type yes if you think he can finally get it, right? Or no if you believe the team needs a total leadership shift. Because coming up next, we're talking about that leadership and how Mike McCarthy's seat might not be hot enough considering everything that's gone wrong under his watch. Let's talk about Mike McCarthy. Now, when the Cowboys hired him, the idea was simple. Bring in a Super Bowl winning coach to steady the ship and finally take this talented roster over the top. But here we are, several seasons later, and you've got to ask yourself, has anything really changed? McCarthy was supposed to be an upgrade over Jason Garrett. He was supposed to bring toughness, accountability, and playoff success. But what have we actually seen? A few solid regular seasons? Sure. But come playoff time, the Cowboys still fall flat. Same mistakes, same lack of adjustments, Same questions about game management. Sound familiar? Let me hit you with this. Since McCarthy took over, how many times have we watched this team look unprepared in the biggest moments? That loss to the 49ers in the 2022 playoffs? Ugly. The meltdown in the wild card round last season? Brutal. And this isn't just bad luck. It's coaching. It's preparation. It's leadership. Now, some fans argue McCarthy brought stability after the chaos of Garrett's tenure. Fair point. But stability without progress? That's just another form of stagnation. We're not playing for NFC East titles here. We're playing, or should be playing, for rings. And with McCarthy at the helm, it feels like this team is built to win 10 games and bow out in January. Again. Even worse. Because Jerry's so involved, McCarthy doesn't really have full control. It's a strange dynamic. He's not coaching scared, but he's not coaching free either. And that leads to a conservative team that plays not to lose, instead of to dominate. So what do you think? Has McCarthy earned another year? Or has he already shown us his ceiling? Drop your take in the comments. Type stay if you think he deserves more time, or go if you think it's time to move on. Because up next, we're diving into the big one, Dak Prescott. And trust me, this is where it really gets complicated. All right, let's go there. Dak Prescott, the most polarizing name on the Cowboys roster. And look, I know this topic can split the fan base right down the middle. Some see a leader, a warrior, a top 10 quarterback. Others see a guy who just can't get it done when it matters most. So let's break it down. Dak's journey is actually pretty remarkable. Fourth-round pick, took over after Tony Romo went down, and never looked back. He's been tough, reliable, and a great representative of the franchise. But the question now isn't about heart. It's not about character. It's about results. And here's the brutal truth. Dak hasn't delivered in the postseason. Year after year, we've watched him light it up in the regular season, only to come up short in January. Whether it's bad decisions, turnovers, or just being outplayed, it keeps happening. And when you're the franchise quarterback, you wear the blame, fair or not. Take last season. Dak led the league in touchdowns, sure. But then came the playoff loss to Green Bay at home as the 2 seed. And what happened? He looked rattled. He threw picks. He shrunk in the moment, again. That's not what you expect from a $40 million a year quarterback. Now here's the dilemma. Dak is good enough to win you games. He's consistent. But is he good enough to take this team to a Super Bowl? Or has he already shown us what his ceiling is? That's the question the Cowboys have to answer. And soon. Because his contract situation is coming to a head. Do you extend him and double down? Or do you prepare to move on and reset? So let me ask you, where do you stand on Dak? Type franchise. If you still believe he's the guy to lead us to a Super Bowl. Or move on, if you think it's time to find a new QB1. Because coming up next, we'll talk about the future and why the Cowboys might be heading into a full-blown identity crisis if they don't act fast. So here we are. Everything's on the table. Mike McCarthy's future is murky. Brian Schottenheimer is trying to steady the ship. The defense is loaded but needs answers. And Dak Prescott remains the great unknown. But the bigger issue? This team feels like it's stuck between two worlds, contending and rebuilding. And that is dangerous territory. Let's be honest. The window with this. Current core is closing. Tyron Smith is gone. Zach Martin is aging. CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons are going to command massive extensions. And then there's the quarterback situation, which still isn't resolved. You can't keep kicking the can down the road forever. The Cowboys need a plan, a real one. Not just hope things click or maybe this year is different. That's not a strategy. It's a wish. They need to decide. Are we all in with Dak, McCarthy, and this group for one last run? Or are we prepared to reset? Maybe with a new head coach, a new QB, and a different vision for the next 5 years? And here's where it gets even tougher. Jerry Jones. As long as he's in charge, everything runs through him. He wants to win, no question. But sometimes wanting it so badly leads to emotional decisions instead of strategic ones, like keeping coaches too long, or pushing extensions just to avoid public drama. Right now, the Cowboys feel like a team without a clear identity. Are they an offensive powerhouse? A defensive-led squad? A run-first unit? Even that's not consistent. And when your identity is fuzzy, your results usually are too. That's why this season could define the next era of Cowboys football, for better or worse. So here's what I want to know from you to wrap this up. Do you think the Cowboys should commit to this current core for one more year? Or is it time to tear it down and rebuild around Micah and ceedee? Type, run it back. If you believe one more push is worth it, or type rebuild if you're ready for a new chapter in Dallas. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading every single one.